Welcome, everybody. I'm pleased to report that Isaacson and Miller, who most of you know, we have contracted them as our search firm. They have been diligently working for the last couple of weeks, engaging various stakeholder groups within USITT to learn more about us. They're asking good questions. They're asking what the challenges for our new executive director might be. They have completed listening sessions with the search committee and a follow-up meeting with one search committee member who could not make the meeting due to a family issue. They have listened to the USITT staff and to the USITT board, and on Friday they have a meeting set with the ideas committee. So it's been a wide group. I think one more meeting they're trying to schedule with the section chairs as well. And that's scheduled tomorrow, as I recall, at 4. So they've been quizzing each of these groups, formulating and assessing what has come in and the various ideas that individuals have sent forward. They've incorporated all this feedback into a draft position description for the executive director, and the search committee chairs are doing the initial review. That's Carolyn and myself, and it will soon be going, if it hasn't already, to the entire search committee for their review. And once that document is finalized, it'll be made public, and the networking process will begin in earnest. To that I am working with their research team to put together a list of potential candidates. They've also quizzed the search committee itself for suggestions, and they are going to accept suggestions from the members at large. So anyone who knows anybody that might be a good candidate, we're being asked to have individuals send that directly to IM. What I'm not sure, Carolyn, did you get a sense as to who within IM would be receiving that?
I won't be able to go on my screen. Jackie did, she asked it to go to there. I would just send it to Jackie Martinez.
Okay, so probably when we, in some posting somewhere, we need to add that and that contact for how to post a suggested name to IM.
Let's have Leanne put that into the chat box right now, and then you can refer to that throughout this.
Okay.
Or before we get off, that it goes to her then.
Great. So finally, IM is putting together various advertising venues and places. And we're reviewing that now, and we'll go forward with basically taking out ads in various places. And thus far, the list, as I recall, had over a dozen different, I don't remember the exact number, but definitely over a dozen, and they were varied in nature in terms of the constituencies that they represented. And I'll let Carolyn add anything that I may have left out.
No, you've covered it. You've covered it very well as to where we are right now. I would say we are probably a month and a half to 2 months out, knowing how they are working and what they are putting together and trying to get people together before we probably will see the first candidate. I would even say probably 2 months from now. The search committee, I feel, is diligent enough not to drag their feet on any of this, and that we are as interested in getting the right person to lead USITT as you are to see a permanent person, and Lee is to see somebody who will be executive director. There are a lot of folks who are definitely looking forward to this. We are not pushing the envelope with Isaacson Miller. They have proven to be a true partner with us in this. They are listening to what is coming back from focus groups. They're listening and incorporating those into their documents. And so the important thing is once they have the description of the executive director and it's posted, please take time to look at that and comment on that. Your voice is important on this.
And I have been very pleased with how proactive IM is. Yeah. As soon as I start wondering when something's going to happen, it happens.
Right.
Pretty much. But they're even pre-scheduling dates with the search committee for interviews.
Right.
So we've got dates locked down that everybody is available for.
Right.
So just gives you an idea about how proactive they actually are.
I just want to remind everybody, because people keep getting knocked off, that we are recording this so that if you miss anything, it will be on the website probably tomorrow.
So that's pretty much, Mark, all I have to report. If we're ready for questions.
Absolutely. If anybody would like to proffer a question, have at it. While you're thinking diligently about your question, I'll ask one. Carolyn, go back to what you were talking about in timeline in terms of, you said a couple of months, a month or two before you'll be seeing the first candidates. Are you talking about in terms of the first interviews that IM is going to do, or that those would be the first? That would be a timeline for the search committee to see some manner of vetted candidates.
My understanding is that is the first time that the search committee is being asked by Isaacson Miller to be at a meeting as they present, they're presenting candidates to us. I assume they will, yeah, present to us. We then review, the search committee reviews, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, and then returns the yay or nays back to Isaacson Miller.
Yeah, the only other step that's in there is as they start getting and weeding candidates and start getting a group together, before they present to us, they will go ahead and share with us some of those that they think do fit the bill, to make sure that we agree that they fit into the category of person that we're looking for. So they'll test that along the way. It won't be just one group coming to us as a whole to vet.
That's actually a really good thing to know, Carl. Thank you for that. Tina, go ahead, please.
Hi, all, and I'm sorry if this has been answered before or elsewhere, but I still don't know what is the plan for when the ad will be published and circulated, and when the application deadline will be. And also, it sounds like you're saying that the search firm will actually, in a sense, generate the shortlist for interviews. Is that true?
They will call, yes. They will call individuals that do not fit the job description. Okay, they will kick those out. Ones that they do feel like do fit, they will leave in the pool. But the search committee will actually do the actual culling of the group that IM feels will fit most of the characteristics that we've put out there. And your other question was the timeline for the job description being published. I feel like it's within if it's 2 weeks, I'd be surprised. I think it's going to be closer to a week. Carolyn?
Tina, what
Okay.
has happened is we sent forward what we were looking for. They have then taken it, added all the information they received from national office as to who we are, and put in the view of what USITT is, our mission, our core values, and what we're looking for in a executive director. That was sent to Carl and I to do the first review. They have then added, because I felt like international was not as focused as international should have been, and went back to them. Their next step then is to share that with search committee and have the full search committee put in their yays and nays. I think once that is solid and everyone agrees on it, you're going to see it being posted.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to also just clarify, the meeting of the search firm with the ideas committee is this Friday.
Good, good.
So it has not happened yet, so just,
Right.
you know.
And until they get all of the focus groups, because I think there is another one tomorrow and then the one on Friday, I don't think they will have a completed document from them to show to the search committee. They're just fine tuning it by listening to all of the input they're getting.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
And I'll just add to that, Tina, the timeline this week is the Ideas Committee, as well as regional sections, is also on Friday. So they're going to be talking to both of those then. And I am assuming then that means, Carl and Carolyn, that there'll be a meeting next week of the search committee.
I would assume
I don't
so.
know. Okay.
I would assume so.
I would assume so too, but I have no information, so that's why I'm
Now, but my
asking.
calendar is becoming. No, it looks like, Carl, on the 30th, we do have an update with IM on the 30th.
On the 30th.
On the 30th, whether that's with Carl and I or Carl and I and the full committee, I'm not sure, but I thought it was the full committee.
I think it's just you and I.
Oh, okay, okay,
But shockingly enough, the 30th is early next week.
right,
So
right. They are extremely communicative. I can tell you this, extremely.
I think I'll just jump in again and piggyback on, again, what I was talking about before, and then what Tina was also clarifying in terms of timeline. So if we're looking at next week, you guys talking to them, getting clarity with everything, we're assuming that then if we put not dates, but maybe months on this, that we're talking September is the time frame for them to put out all of their ads, et cetera, in the world. That's the sense I'm getting. I just wanted to clarify that, as far as you know.
I think that's right, Mark. We don't have a firm date, but I would expect early September to start seeing something go public. And
Yeah, I would say early September. I would not, to me, I'd be very surprised if we're looking at the end of September with a posting.
Well, and as a matter of fact, within the last, I guess it was about a week ago, one of the references that IM made was that they felt like we were behind a couple of days. So they've got a definite schedule they're trying to maintain, but not locking 100% into that. I do need a point of clarification on one of the meetings, Mark. I heard you say Friday for the regional section chairs, and I have in my planner Thursday at 3.
You are probably correct.
Okay, just wanted to check.
We just lost somebody, I think, but other questions regarding the search?
Carl, do you know if IM was also asking for places to advertise this? I know that they were looking for candidates, but I thought I saw something that they were requesting if any of our members had a suggestion as to where to post, where the job description and that would be posted. Definitely send those to IM also.
I did not see that, Carolyn. I just saw
Yeah.
the,
Leanne, I think you were nodding your head that they had done that.
Okay.
okay. I'll yield to you on that one then.
A lot of moving parts on this.
Yes.
So that being said, Carolyn, there's a whole meaning in that last sentence of yours where you just, buried the lead there. There's a lot of moving parts to this. You want to take on to let everybody know all of the moving,
Well, I don't know if
the moving parts?
I had a few of our members who know me well wondering why this was not moving as fast as it is. And once you believe that you have the best search firm out there for the job and that they will listen to you, which is really important, I then began to see all of the parts everything they have to do to get to the point to present to us with the starting options candidates. They are very open to the focus groups we have asked for. And again, this last came through on the job description, it mentioned, but not to, Carl and I had talked, and it wasn't to the level that international should be focused. And then they have rewritten that. And again, they ask, is this what you want to say? And again, it is not just Carl and I approving this. This goes to 11 people and their input, the search committee. So there's a lot going on, and that lot going on needs to take time in order to that the board approves a hire that will be here for the next few years.
Well, and I think this phase has been frustrating for our members because there doesn't appear to be a lot going on if you're not in one of the focus groups that is being solicited. So I think that may have added to some frustration, but IM had to know who we are. They could not vet candidates that come in unless they knew who this new executive director needed to be and what we as an institute need in an executive director. So they had to really know us inside out, and they requested a ton of information. As I know, the office, which gathered part of it, from financials to just who we are affiliated with. It was just a ton of information. Then going to the various focus groups that represent us, that make us up. And I have no clue how many responses came from the general membership from that query. But we felt it was important to reach out to every member that wanted to give feedback. And that does take time.
Well, and I think that you touched on an important piece there, Carl, was that the depth and breadth of USITT is actually kind of astonishing even to people who are well acquainted with most of the moving parts. So I'm certainly sure that that can take time. And I can certainly speak to being in one of those focus groups. I was actually surprised, quite frankly, at the depth of their questioning and what they wanted. It really made me have to stop and think. And this was certainly by no stretch of the imagination the first time I had ever thought about this. So I did find it somewhat satisfying in a strange sort of a way that they were being this thorough.
That's
Good.
what we are paying for,
Yes.
is excellence, is an excellent search firm. And I really believe we have the best fit for USITT.
And I concur 100%. On a side note, Leanne did post in the chat the contact person, Jackie Mildner, and her email address at IM. So that's there for anyone who does know of someone who might be interested, might be qualified for the ED position, to send that name to Jackie, as well as any place that you may think we should be advertising in.
Any other questions on this? Any general questions not related to the search?
I would love to hear something from Leaz Belswanger. I didn't know if she knows I was going to ask this.
Well, no, she did not.
Well, just an off-the-cuff update. How are things going?
They're going. We're moving along. As I should let Leanne and Mark answer this question. We're doing the work of the Institute. And
She is, as ever, way too modest. She should be telling you that at least one person in almost every meeting says, are you absolutely sure you don't want this job full time?
to which she replies, yes, she is sure.
And that's the answer all the time, unfortunately.
The staff has actually been very helpful there. That back to the saga of you don't know what you don't know. I've been around this institute for quite some time. And so, yes, I'm fairly aware of the moving parts and many of the people, but they're just things you don't know until you're in the position to need to know them. And the staff has been very helpful in filling in the gaps that I need to have filled in. One of the things we are collectively working on is making sure that information, processes, documentation of some things is in good shape for when a new executive director is identified and needs to take over, so that hopefully there won't be as many gap filling measures necessary for the new person.
And I will say that, and Leanne can probably concur with this, that having Lee as a quasi outsider, right, just an inside outsider, leading this process has been helpful for us. Because as Carolyn knows from the last meeting we were just in together, that led me, some of Lee's questions led me to think, we don't have a good grasp right now on what's happening in the regional sections. So let's look at that. And so Liz and I have been working on gathering that information, but it is something very important that the next executive director will have to know. I have also learned we just hired a new administrative assistant in the office, and I just went up to her one day and I said, has anybody explained to you, probably not, the difference between a membership expiring and a membership lapsing? And she looked at me, as you would, like I had 6 heads. And I said, okay, I'm going to explain this to you, but I'm going to explain this to you multiple times over the next 6 months, because that's how long it certainly took me to actually grasp that information. But those little things, those are sort of fundamental weird tasks that this new leader will have to wrap their heads around, I think. Andy Lyons raised her virtual hand.
Oh, my Lord.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Andy.
So I just had a question about, you mentioned the idea of Isaacson Miller and the committee putting together the list of where this job will be advertised. Knowing our membership and ourselves as we do, is there any thought to letting the membership or some subset of that know where it is that the position will be advertised? Because often we're better at going, well, how about, and rather than just coming up with a name sort of out of nowhere. So just tossing that out as something to consider if you haven't already.
Yes and no. Because yes, I did have that thought, and no, I don't know if I've done anything about it. So thank you for that reminder. Because I think it's a very good note, certainly, that we should tell people. We will also post it on Jobs USITT, but also to let people know to look for it.
And does that follow and a suggestion that, and send it to people who might be interested and qualified? Again, we generally do better with short deadlines and reminders.
Yes, please send this job description to everybody you know who might know somebody.
But another way to actually do that is send it to IM for IM to actually contact the individual.
Yes, that also is a very, very good note.
Because you may get somebody like Lee saying no to Mark, but if the name goes to IM, who knows?
They have bigger arm twisters than.
They have bigger hooks.
Well,
Yeah.
in fact, in the
Much
survey,
bigger
in the
hook.
membership survey, it also asked people if they wanted to make a recommendation that would go directly to IM there as well. But again, I do wonder if we have any feedback on how many people of the general membership responded to that survey.
Not yet. We may get an update next week
Sure.
when Carolyn and I speak with them. But to date, we have not had an update on that particular question.
That might be an interesting question for the two of you to ask if they don't just provide that, because it could tell us a lot of things, but it would maybe suggest that we should reintroduce that idea into a weekly newsletter or something in not too distantly down the road.
Well, and certainly it might be an interesting note just to know how many people in the membership did reply.
And in that related vein, since that link was embedded within the weekly newsletter, people would have had to open the weekly newsletter to read. Well, some of us do, and some of us did, and all. But again, I don't know if it would make sense to send it out to the membership as a separate piece of information, and just a smaller bite that they might respond to more directly. Just because, again, people get busy and forget to look, especially if there's more than one click involved.
Mark and I had actually been talking about, again, depending on what information can be, because a lot of this information is confidential. The whole search committee has signed confidentiality forms, so some things cannot be aired. But we had talked about something on the website that is its own updated section on the executive search and where we're going with it. And it's, again, that we haven't just, that hasn't been decided yet, from the national office. But whether it's doable and what can be put on that update, so that people who know to go to the website, you would not have to go into, well, weekly news. I always find it in my spam, so it's it's frustrating, but I always know to go there. But if somebody opens that, one of the main rectangles up there is executive search update. So
and there is, it's USITT.org/exec, which currently has, Carl has written a couple of pieces that have gone up there, but because of the confidentiality piece of it, they're not deep.
Right.
Right. But they are informative.
Well, I have no problem in our posting this report.
Right.
And I've got most of the language for it, and adding the part of soliciting and providing Jackie's email, but requesting anybody who has names that should be contacted for potential EDs to be posted there as well.
I don't think we can do it enough.
Right.
Because if somebody doesn't see it a week ago, maybe in 2 weeks, but this being repetitive, I really hope that when we come and hire somebody, when we're to that point, no one is going to say we didn't know what was happening. That there has been as much of a transparency around this as I like to see in other things with USITT. But again, we partner very closely with IM with what information is said, and even said on this, on leadership listening. We check with them to make sure we are not crossing a line that would negate our relationship with them and that contract we have with them. Because
that is a line in the contract.
Oh, yes, it is.
And
oh, yes, it is.
We, as a search committee, we weren't admonished, but we were informed that one of their current searches that was in its final stages might fail because of a breach of confidentiality. That's how important this is. And it's really protecting, it's there to protect the potential candidates.
Right.
So this is not like a search for a new chair for a department or a new faculty member. It's a little more high stakes than that.
So the listing, from what Tina was saying, the listing that says where is this being posted, we get the go-ahead, that easily can be posted on the as to where to find both the job description once it's been approved and where this is being advertised.
But as soon as it's posted, if an individual has a place that they think it should be, it can be sent.
Right.
It needs to go far and wide. As Lee nods.
Yes, I saw the same thing. Yes, please. We want to do
Any-
this right.
Yes, yes. Any other questions, comments, concerns, recipes?
I would also ask too, if any of the members listening or any of your friends, if you have any ideas of what you like to see discussed on leadership listening, please send them to Mark or to Lee or to me. Nothing is off the table at this point. So we'll attack or bring to the group whoever you'd like to hear discussing whatever.
Leanne has just posted in the chat my email, Lee's email, but not Leanne's email.
And I'm president@usitt.org.
And she's L. Quimby at usitt.org.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. We got everybody there.
All of them. Anything else? Final thoughts? Prayers?
Please,
Yes.
please.
If you think of anything afterward, Carolyn, can they send thoughts to you, president@usitt.org?
I'll forward them.
Okay.
No problem. No
All right.
problem.
Last call. I'll let you out early.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you all for being here. Thanks for everybody listening. Thanks for everybody's participation in this search. It is going to be a very interesting and I think exciting time for USITT. So thank you all for being a part of that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a
Thanks,
lovely
everybody.
day.
Bye.
Bye.